Okay, so thank you all for coming tonight. My name is Ning Chen. I'm the Director of Admissions. I can introduce our BFIT team, and then before we let Ms. Wilkerson to give her presentation and her talk, I'm going to introduce Quincy first. I don't know whether he can show his face, but Quincy Johnson is one of us, and he's our special operation. And you probably got a phone call from him, you got email from him, and then if you visit our office, he's right in the front. And then the next one, important one, as Ms. Shani Wilkerson. She is our Director of Financial Aid. So anything about your financial aid, scholarship, anything you don't understand your words, you can contact her team. And then I'm going to turn to Shani and then she can start her session.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Min. Again, my name is Shani Wilkerson. I'm the Director of Financial Aid here at Benjamin Franklin. And, whether you're starting in January or looking, way in advance and looking towards fall, September of 2023, the information that I want to give to you this evening, anybody can use it. The earlier you start planning for financial aid, the better. So I'm glad to see that there are students here. If there's family members here that are also interested about the financial aid process, I encourage everybody to ask questions. Certainly we can discuss, or if you want to put them in the chat, the admissions team can certainly bring those to my attention. So again, I just want to welcome everybody. And I do want to also acknowledge that, for folks that are on the call this evening, you're probably all at different parts of the financial aid process. Some people might not have even, thought about financial aid or completed a FAFSA, versus there might be somebody right now that's looking at their financial aid award and looking to get things squared away for January. So, don't worry about, where you are in the process. This session is really just to hit all the important points along the way. And, please, if you have questions or concerns, be sure to let me know.
Can I add one thing? Mm-hmm. So this is really conversational, so feel free to raise hands and we can let you ask, unmute yourself, ask your question, or you can put in the chat and then we can pose, and I will watch the chat box and pose, and then Shani can answer your questions. So don't be afraid to ask any questions. Okay. Thanks.
Okay, can everyone see my screen? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. So again, I'm really just going to go over the financial aid process as it pertains to students enrolled here at Benjamin Franklin. I'll take you all the way from the very beginning to what you can expect after you've received that financial aid award. And again, I encourage you to ask questions as we go through the content. So that actually was my my first slide. Again, if you are looking to start in January, now is the time to definitely, apply for financial aid. If you're looking at enrollment for fall 2023, this is also the time to start looking about financial aid, because both financial aid application years are available online. I definitely want to give you a snippet of what our financial aid award letters look like and the components of the financial aid package, as well as the supporting information, and then talk to you about what your next step should be after that. How are you going to finance the outstanding balance, if there is one, depending on your level of financial aid. So definitely that includes creating a financial plan, and most importantly, again, to answer your questions or concerns. So again, I've been here at the college now just over 5 years. I've worked in financial aid, ever since I myself, got out of undergrad and started a full-time job. So I've always had that, administrator, student, parent, family network mindset where, the student, you are the ones that are going to be in class, but, we want to acknowledge any and all support systems around. So again, whether that's family, community members, mentors, whoever is helping you through academically, as well as helping to guide you through the financial aid process. again, all this information is for anybody that's involved. This process within the last year is especially near and dear to my heart, because as of now, I'm the mother of a college age student in her first semester. So, completing the FAFSA, going through verification, dealing with different financial aid offices, even though this is what I've done my entire professional career, it is very different to go through it yourself. So I am extremely sensitive to folks' time. You want to get right to the point and make sure that I'm not leaving any stones unturned for you as you move forward. So the first thing, to consider yourself for financial aid, whether you're looking to determine your eligibility for federal or state grants, loans, federal work study, which is essentially on-campus student employment, any other thing that the school or the federal or state governments could offer. The first thing you want to do is make sure you complete the FAFSA, which stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. So you can certainly take a snapshot of any and all of the slides, but then this information is also on our website under the Financial Aid tab. Each school that you are looking to apply to has its own Department of Education federal code. So you want to make sure that when you're completing the FAFSA that you're listing us as well as our code, so that the federal government will send us your financial aid record and we can determine a package for you. So our BFIT school code is 002151. You don't have to memorize it, but again, if there's any issue with your FAFSA, if for some reason you applied and completed the form and it's been a month and we still haven't received it, if you need to call the Department of Ed, you're going to want to give both our name as well as our DOE code. Depending on your age, if you're a dependent student, meaning if you're under 24 years old, unmarried, not a parent, not a veteran, you're a dependent student. So both you and your parents' information would be required. If any of those criteria do pertain to you and you are an independent student, then just you would need to complete your own FSA ID as well as your password. These are going to be the two things that allow you to create and to access down the road your financial aid record. So if you ever need to make any changes, any updates, you're going to need to have both your login and your password available, because other than that, there's no way, unfortunately, for myself or anyone else at the college to do that interaction for you. Once you submit your FAFSA, you want to make sure that you keep that confirmation email as well as the DRN number. The DRN stands for data retrieval number. So again, once you're doing this process online, you're completing the FAFSA and you're submitting it, all of that information is electronic, and all of that would need to be traced should the school or should you or a parent have any question and need to follow up directly with central processing for FAFSA. So they'll ask you for the school name, the school code, and your DRN number as proof that the information you submitted actually was processed. It's not something that you probably would need to carry in your wallet or, anything like that. But if you want to make a memo on your phone or just wherever you keep your important information, there is always the chance that you'll need to refer to that at a later point. Once you file for financial aid, each school could be required to request additional information from you or your parents. Some of the common things that we need to resolve are issues with tax return data that was submitted. We might need you to verify other household information, other income information, or any other status that pertains to your record. You might need to provide proof of your U.S. citizenship. If you've registered for selective service, if you're a born male over 18 years old and you're looking to receive financial aid, the federal government requires that you register for selective service. You also might be an older student who has been in college before, has maybe borrowed federal loans, and for any reason have fallen into default. If that has been cleared, you would need to provide copies of that loan default resolution to our office, as well as any other thing that might be needed to resolve any discrepant data with your FAFSA. Because again, the point of my work, my team's work, is to make sure that we are awarding you the maximum financial aid possible, either from the college, from the federal government, or from the state of Massachusetts. So if there's any item on your application that is causing a reject, not allowing us to access, your family contribution and things like that, it's going to be super important that you respond to all requests for additional information and in a timely manner, again, so that we make sure that we can give you the best amount of financial aid available to you each year. What you're looking at now is just a sample of a piece of our financial aid package that everyone receives via email. I did just want to differentiate some of the important parts of that, which is mostly the cost of education as well as the financial aid that everyone hopes to receive. So when you receive your financial aid award, we'll, again, go over a lot of this information as well, but give you an estimate based on the information that Min and the admissions team receives about whether you're going to be a full-time student, a part-time student, your major, what any of your additional educational costs may be. All of those things will be listed at the top of your financial aid letter. So where you see the blue highlight for this random student, their total direct billable costs from the college are just under $19,000. And again, this is based on full-time enrollment for 2 semesters this year, starting in January. You can see the tuition amount listed at $18,306. Again, that's tuition for 2 semesters, as well as 2 semesters worth of the technology fee. And then to the right, these are the non-billable or indirect educational costs that we assume each and every student will have. So these are not things that you'll receive a charge for from the college, but every college student has to pay for some level of books and supplies, whether you're driving or taking the T or some other, Uber, what have you. There is a cost of transportation for you to get to and from school now that we're back in person and not solely working in a hybrid setting. And then there's a living allowance. So whether you're paying rent, you have a mortgage, you're paying utilities, groceries, things like that, we do acknowledge a cost of being a college student is far beyond just the tuition and fees, but everything else that allows you to work, to study, to manage your family and so forth. So again, the items to the left, the billable costs, those are charges that come directly from the college. And then to the right, we again acknowledge the full educational costs, things that we're not billing you for, but you're still incurring as an individual on a daily basis. Below that is a breakdown of what this certain student received in a financial aid award for the upcoming January and summer semesters. Again, we will award you based on whatever enrollment information we have from admissions. So for this student, their intention is to be in class for both semesters for the remainder of this year. The student is eligible for the federal Pell Grant for a total amount of $2,645. They're eligible for the federal SEOG grant for $1,500. Since the student is a automotive technology major, they're eligible for the Lufkin Family Scholarship for $4,000, as well as the state grant for $300, as well as their federal loans for a total of $5,500. So, I chose this example just to give everyone a feel for the kinds of things you may see in your financial aid award. As I mentioned, for this student, based on their major, they're eligible for one certain kind of scholarship. Students who are not automotive majors, but maybe are in HVAC or renewable technology, practical electricity, opticianry, any of those other programs, it's very possible that you also have specialized scholarships, or at the very minimum would qualify for some other form of general scholarship through our funded donor awards. So again, you can see the student has a combination of grants, of loans. We don't pre-package work study. I know there are a lot of colleges and universities that will already add that to a financial aid award. We choose not to do that. If you are interested in working part-time on campus and want to see if you're eligible, all you would need to do is contact myself or the financial aid team, and we can certainly see if you are eligible and then let you know about part-time opportunities on campus. For example, men in the admissions team have work study students working for them. And, work study is something that's done around your class schedule or other requirements. So it could be helping men in the admissions team make phone calls, definitely, office administration work, filing, making copies, scanning documents, as well as receiving documents to complete students' admissions files, light office work, again, just maybe a couple hours a week. Whereas working in other parts of the college, again, if you're working for one of the admins in the faculty or any of the other administrative offices, there certainly is part-time work available, and we would then add that on top of any financial aid that you had previously received. So for this student, for their total cost of attendance, estimated at $18,906, they're receiving a financial aid award of $13,945. So, if you do the difference between the two, they're looking at about $5,000 in out-of-pocket costs. That's just one example. There are students who, have more than that in financial aid, and certainly there are students who are not receiving as much. No matter what your level of financial aid eligibility is, our team is here to work with you through the process, let you know of other options, and to make sure that you're fully aware of what your financial aid package entails, so that you're confident and don't have to worry about finances and you can focus on your classes. In addition to just an outline of what the award looks like, I did want to drill down a little bit about the kinds of funds and what the difference is between scholarships, grants, loans, and other forms of aid. The best kind of aid you can receive, and what everybody wants to know, are they eligible for, are funds that don't need to be repaid. So those would be things like the federal Pell Grant, which this year has a maximum award of $6,895. The Massachusetts State Grant, which is awarded by the Commonwealth, which has a maximum this year of $2,800, as well as the donor funded scholarships that I mentioned, which, vary again, based on your major, based on your enrollment status, your, level of financial need. Typically those awards are anywhere from $1,000 to $4,000 for the year. So if you remember the cost of attendance mentioned on the previous slide of $18,000, this student, let's just say they got everything. They received a Pell Grant, they got Mass Grant, and some other kind of donor funded scholarship. They very easily, at the high amounts, could have more than half of their bill covered in grant and scholarship assistance. Again, these are funds that don't need to be repaid and go directly towards your bill. Also considered financial aid are federal loans. And, this is where a lot of students have questions because, again, loans are funds that you need to repay. Sometimes students don't think that that is financial aid, but indeed it is, for the simple fact that you complete a FAFSA without a credit check, without a co-signer. Maybe you're not working full-time because you're in school. In no other setting would you be able to borrow, anywhere from $5,500 to $10,500 per year. You would have to meet a lot of other different awarding criteria. The federal government, though, has established these programs to help supplement students through their financial journey through college. And again, based on your year in school, if it's a first-year student and you're a dependent student, meaning you're living with parents, you can borrow up to $5,500. If you're an independent student, you would be eligible up to $9,500. When we're creating financial aid packages, we're always going to award you at the maximum available based on your student status. So if you're a first-year student, second-year student, dependent, independent, we will give you the maximum you're eligible for. If for any reason you want to reduce or cancel your loans altogether and make other financial arrangements, all you have to do is let us know in writing so that we can keep that request on file. If funds have already dispersed and you want to change, your payment arrangement midway through the year, we can certainly accommodate that. Again, you would just need to reach out to us and let us know what your intentions are so that we can adjust your award accordingly. if you do decide to borrow any of the federal loans that are offered, you don't need to begin repayment until after you graduate. So if you're in a 1-year, a 2-year, or a 4-year program, so long as you're enrolled and working towards graduation, the federal government is not going to require you to make any payments. Once you do graduate, you still on top of that will have a 6-month grace period where, again, the federal government believes you've graduated, you're maybe looking for a full-time job, you're getting yourself situated financially as well as everything else. They're not going to require any payments from you. Once that six-month grace period is up, that's when you would begin to repay on any of the loans that you borrowed while you were in college. Typical repayment on federal loans is 10 years or 120 months, and that would be one payment for any and all funds you borrowed while you were in school, and you would be making those payments directly to the Department of Ed or their servicers, not to the college. BFIT does not participate in any campus-based loan programs like the Massachusetts No Interest Loan or Perkins Loan or anything else like that. So the only loans that we package are through the federal government. So if you decide to borrow them, that's who you would repay. So, again, just in thinking, again, whether you're looking to start school in January or down the road next fall, what you always want to consider is, what are my direct costs? What are the things that the college is going to bill me for? Those, again, would be things like tuition, fees, tools, any other supplies for your classes. And then what is my financial aid? The difference between the two, if there is a difference, is going to be what you're paying out of pocket. So again, when you're looking at your award letter, you always want to focus on the direct billable costs minus all of the financial aid that is listed. The difference is going to be what we will help you to find a way to finance. Another important question is how are you going to do that? Let's say that your financial aid package doesn't look like the student that I highlighted. Let's say you only have loans for $5,500. The next question would be, how are you going to cover that difference? At BFIT, we do offer monthly payment plan options. So again, depending on how soon you're looking to finance, you can spread your payments out for both semesters over 8 to 10 months during the school year. So if you had a balance of $5,000 or $10,000, you can make arrangements to spread that out over the 2 semesters. The thing that you would want to make sure is that you're keeping up with your payments, or if you need to change your arrangement, that you're contacting the Office of Student Accounts immediately so that your payments don't lapse and so that you don't have a financial hold on your account. And, they can do a monthly payment plan. You can pay by semester, or if you're not looking to do out-of-pocket payments, you can certainly investigate either additional federal parent loans where the parent would borrow the balance for the student each year, or you can also consider any of our not any of our, but any of the available private student loan options through private education servicers. Those repayment terms could be very different than the federal loan programs because those are serviced through private lending institutions. So if that is the route that you want to take, of course, again, our team can walk you through that process, let you know kind of the pros and cons of each. But those repayment terms, again, would be different than the 6-month grace period and the 10-year repayment. Sometimes the approval criteria are a little more stringent, and the repayment terms could be different than the federal loan programs. So again, just a bit more about the monthly payment plan. That's coordinated through the Office of Student Accounts. That's who sends out the bills, the ledgers to you, works out the payment plan, talks about your fees and all of your other charges. So those bills do not come from financial aid. They come from a separate office. But of course, as you can imagine, we do work very closely, financial aid and student accounts. If you're looking to do the payment plan, that is something that you can do online, or you can send your payment directly to the college each month. And again, if you're looking to make those payment arrangements, you would want to contact the Office of Student Accounts. You can either call them or email them directly at studentaccounts@bfit.edu. Option number 2 would be the Parent Plus loan. You might notice also that our college does not participate in the practice of pre-packaging a Parent Plus loan to illustrate how the balance could be paid, because the parent does need to apply for this loan. It is based on your credit score as well as your income to debt ratio, and repayment on that loan begins while the student is enrolled towards their degree or certificate. So because it's not an automatic like the student loans, it is available for parents to investigate, but we don't make any assumptions as to whether the parent would want to apply, nor whether they would accept those funds. But if that is something that your family wants to use to finance your balance for the year, we can certainly help you and point you in the right direction. But I've also listed the website where you can get more information about the Federal Parent Plus loan at studentaid.gov. As I mentioned, a lot of private educational loan programs do offer lending options for you to cover your balance for the school year. Typically, they can be used for larger balances. So if you're not going to complete a FAFSA, or if your financial aid award, is maybe, only a fraction of what you're needing to pay. These private loan options do have limits that exceed what the federal loan programs will offer. So if by chance you needed to cover a balance of $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 for the year, there are education programs out there that will, if you're credit approved, allow you to borrow those funds. These loans, again, are separate from the college, so we don't do anything in terms of making a decision on the credit or whether the loan is approved or denied, but can certainly as well help you in picking a private loan option if that's something that you're eligible for. And it would be based on the credit worthiness of you, the borrower, and or your cosigner. So if you want to get a listing of what kinds of private loans BFIT partners with, you can find those at the website provided at elmselect.com. I cannot suggest one private loan company over another. It really doesn't matter to the college what your financing option is. If you do a private loan, a parent loan through the federal government, a payment plan, or a combination of all three, essentially, so long as your balance is paid each semester or in full for the year, whatever payment arrangement works well for you is what we will expect. So I just wanted to leave as well some helpful links. Again, if you're already started with the financial aid process, or if you're thinking about applying for financial aid, these are very well things that you'll need to complete down the road. So if you're taking any of the federal subsidized or unsubsidized direct loans, you'll need to complete both the master promissory note as well as the entrance loan counseling so that the federal government will release those funds to the college. As I mentioned, the loans do need to be repaid versus grants and scholarships, which are free money. So before the Department of Ed releases money to the school on your behalf, they want to make sure that you as a student loan borrower are well versed and educated on, the ins and outs of federal loan programs, how not to go into default, what it means to be in repayment, and as well as your borrower benefits. So both of these online tutorials for the MPN and the ELC, both found at studentaid.gov. You wouldn't need to complete them until you've already been awarded a financial aid package, but certainly you'd want to make sure that they were done before the first day of class so that those funds were ready to be released. At the beginning of the slideshow, I did mention that there's always the chance that the college would need to ask you for additional paperwork or to supply additional information regarding your financial aid application. You can certainly use the link for 2223 forms and resources to see examples of kinds of worksheets or additional documentation that we could require if necessary. And then as well, our financial aid office contacts. Our main email is financialaid@bfit.edu, or you can call our team, typically Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. at 617-588-1368. I am available on campus mostly Monday through Wednesday for now, in person, and then remote Thursday and Friday. Our financial aid team is 100% remote, but they, again, can be reached 5 days a week. They can help you with your FAFSA. They can walk you through the master promissory note entrance counseling process. They do work close with student accounts. So if you need to figure out how much your outstanding balance is, or, again, to talk about payment arrangements, all of those things are issues that the financial team can help you with. So I'll leave this slide up here for another few seconds if you want to take a picture. But again, all of this is provided on our website under financial aid as well. Does anyone have questions?
Yes, I have one question.
Okay.
I just have a question about the new program you're running. I think you're running a new HVAC program this year for associate accredited. It wasn't very last year, and I just had questions about this. I've seen that you had like special financing for the auto mechanic degree. I just don't know if there's anything special going on for the HVAC.
Again, once we see that you're admitted into a major, it's always going to be a review of funds available at that time. So there is a scholarship that we have right now for students who are enrolled in HVAC. There are some other criteria aside from that major that we would need to review our student population for. So it really, it's hard to tell in advance. We've received so much financial support from a lot of businesses, a lot of community members and organizations in and around the city of Boston. And they're all interested in what we're doing here on campus and have been very generous in providing scholarship opportunities for our students. So the best thing I could say is make sure that you've applied for financial aid. If it's not enough and you think you need additional assistance, reach out to our team, and I'll certainly look and see what scholarships we still have to award to see if those could be added to your package.
Okay, when do I know? Because I graduated last year, technically this year, the tradesman department, and I'm trying to stay filled pretty much by using my education.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Kind of lost what question I had, but so I graduated this year, May 14th, the trades department. And I'm going into like the academic part of the program. This program was there last year and available this year. So I'm just very curious about it.
Are you asking about the academic side of the program or about financial aid for the program?
Yes, actually, the financial aid for that particular program. I know every program has its own, and I'm pretty much saying like, okay, since I went to school last year, I graduated. How will that affect? Will that affect my financial aid for this year, or something like that?
No, each year is separate. You just want to make sure you complete, if you're looking to come to school in January, you want to make sure you complete the 2022-2023 FAFSA. It is going to ask you if you have a prior bachelor's degree or what your enrollment plans are for this year. So long as you're answering all of those questions, again, we'll determine your financial aid eligibility this year without having to look or consider what you might or might not have been eligible for in the past, if that makes sense.
LaShawn, I had to unmute you first because we couldn't hear when Shani was talking. You can unmute yourself. And I saw you applied as a rollover into a new program. I will give you a call tomorrow. like Shani said, you do need a new FAFSA, but since you are rolling over for another major, we don't need, of course, I need to check your admissions file. We probably have everything from you already, but for FAFSA, yes, you need a new one.
I have a question.
Sure.
So I enrolled. I actually tried to enroll for the beginning of the last semester, but I was a little late with my paperwork. Since then, they asked me to get a lot of different documentations, which I did. And at the time, they said I was all set. Do I have to apply for a new FAFSA if I've already done everything and got like the award? I just got the award letter from the education department.
Okay, are you looking to be in school for January?
Yes. Yep.
And your financial aid award, did it look kind of like the one I had in the slide? And what was it from our college, or were you talking about the student aid report from FAFSA?
I believe that it was I think it was the student aid report from FAFSA.
Okay.
But if you showed that form in the beginning, I'm sorry, I jumped on a little late, so I didn't see it.
That's okay. Yeah, so when you do your FAFSA, it'll tell you the family contribution. It might say that you're eligible for the federal Pell Grant or loans or other federal awards. That's not your award letter officially. That's just, the federal government saying what you might receive from the college. The actual award letter will come directly from Benjamin Franklin. It'll list all of the aid, federal, state, or otherwise that you're eligible for. So that is separate.
That is, now that I'm thinking about it, it did come from Ben Franklin.
Okay, so good. So if you've already been awarded, any documentation that you submitted before that time has already been reviewed, because we don't send out tentative award letters. We only send out one after the student has completed the FAFSA or completed the verification process. So yes, if you did your FAFSA and then soon after got a request for tax returns or something else like that, everything was needed to determine your aid eligibility.
Got it. Got it.
And that's why you're able to get your financial aid award.
Sure. And I mean, it's a little confusing I can see where the allocation of certain monies that are coming from other places. Kind of be very clear on what my obligation is.
Yes.
Should I maybe call the college in the morning or?
Yeah, you can certainly contact student accounts, because now that you've been awarded, the financial aid part is done. Now you want to work out any remaining balance if there is one. So yes, that student accounts email, probably can shoot them a call in the morning or use that same phone number for our office, the 1368, and just say I'm starting school. I got my financial aid letter. Can someone help me figure out what that balance is? Because definitely the bills for January have not gone out yet. It probably will be another couple of weeks before you receive that. So this is definitely a good time to, start at least estimating what that financial plan will be.
Okay. And one last question for those that might be on unemployment. And the unemployment is approaching, the end of it. There's a Section 30 form that can be filled out by the college. If we have our award letter, are you guys able to help with that form?
We certainly can help. It just depends on who needs to fill out information and what they're looking for. So if it's something to verify that you're in school working towards a degree with a potential graduation date, anything verifying your enrollment would come from the office of the registrar. So that would be separate from financial aid. If you need to supply a copy of your financial aid package, then yes, certainly we can send you a duplicate or fill out any paperwork that would need to know what the financial aid information is about.
And that was the office of registrar?
Yes, the registrar. So anything concerning registration, your degree, your major, your credits and things like that would all come from the registrar.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Before we answer a question in the chat, Lee,
Yeah.
That's your hands up. Yeah, you go ahead to ask your question.
Yeah, I have already submitted for FAFSA.com and just want to know how long I can get my reason, because I was in 1 month ago.
Did wait, you said you did it on FAFSA.com?
Yeah, I
That's not the right website though. It's a studentaid.gov. It's government website.
yeah,
Did you-
I submit for everything submitted, everything information. So I just right now I just want to waiting a reason. So it's how long I can take the reason.
Okay. If you did your FAFSA a month ago and have not heard anything from us, you definitely want to contact the financial aid office in the morning and make sure that we receive the FAFSA. You know, as I had mentioned at the beginning of the discussion, if your FAFSA doesn't have our college listed, we'll never receive that information. So if you were considering us as well as maybe on other colleges and universities, but didn't list us on the FAFSA, we won't receive that information. I don't have the database in front of me now, so I can't tell whether we do have it or whether there's additional information that's required. So the best thing to do is to contact the office in the morning and just, you know, give them your name and other identifying data, and they'll be able to tell you what your status is.
Okay, so yeah, if I want contact you, so just give you some information, just phone number or email or something.
Li Hui, I talked to you before. Why don't you call me? Do you still have my number, right?
Okay.
Yeah, call me tomorrow morning and
Sure.
I can help you check.
Okay, no problem.
But Shani, I checked your report. His name is not on your report. So I think, but I can figure out tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Okay.
Is he a recent accept, maybe since that last report, and maybe that's why?
Not very recent.
Okay.
But yeah, I can find out his confirmation email to see where he is.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
All right,
call me
thanks.
tomorrow morning.
Sure, no problem. I will call you.
So Oma, please wait just for a second. And I think Zeha.
What you mean?
She asked a question in the chat. So she wants to know what do entrance counseling and master promising mean? And those are the two things financial aid office told her she still missed.
Yep. So if you're getting requests for the MPN or the entrance counseling, congrats, because you've already been awarded your financial aid package. Part of that does include the federal loans that you would repay after graduation. So if that's something that you do want to borrow and you want to use those funds towards your bill for this year, the master promissory note is essentially a one-page document you'll complete online. It's your loan agreement where the federal government, you know, just details the amount that you're eligible for. You go ahead and provide your, you know, name, social security number, date of birth, address, contact info, and sign the agreement saying that, yes, you do agree to borrow these funds and you'll repay upon graduation and you're going to use them for educational purposes. So that's, you know, typically will take you maybe 5 minutes. The entrance loan counseling session is essentially an online tutorial where the federal government provides, you know, very much detailed information about the federal student loan program. It'll give you information and then ask you some quick, you know, quiz questions throughout. You do need to complete that process and submit before the federal government will release the loan funds that you've been packaged for to the college. So between the two of them, I usually tell students to set aside, you know, maybe 20 to 30 minutes to complete both. You're going to complete them separately, both on the studentaid.gov website, and you're going to get 2 separate confirmation emails, one for the master promissory note and one for the entrance counseling. So make sure that you receive both of those confirmations before January. You know, if it's something that you can do this weekend, again, shouldn't take you too long, but you do need to actually complete both of those things before the funds can be released.
Thank you. Oma, you can unmute yourself. Thank you.
Yes. Hello. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Just a couple of questions, please. Actually, I went to some office. I don't know what is it. He wanted to help me in FAFSA, but after all information, he said you are not eligible because maybe high income, me and my wife. So the question is that gonna be turned to a loan, student loan automatically, or I have to apply a new or different application for student loan?
Nope, it will, for the federal loans, those will be packaged automatically so long as you completed the FAFSA. If, the federal loans aren't going to cover your bill because like you said, you have possibly high income and only qualify for, $5,500 or $9,500 for the year, then yes, you certainly could consider any of the private loan options for the balance for the year. And those are not capped. So long as your credit approved, you'll be able to borrow whatever you need for the year.
Okay, and actually, I got a link from maybe your side. I think I filled up the application, but I didn't know if it went through or not. I didn't get any, response from your side. So actually, how can I know if everything is done or not yet?
In terms of a private loan or the FAFSA?
I think it was a link about FAFSA. I
Okay.
filled up the information, but I didn't what happened after that actually. So, and the Benjamin Franklin Institute waiting for, I think, the immunization card and accreditation. And so, and yeah, a lot of mess actually. The primary doctor doesn't want to give me like appointment after like 1 month. And there was a mistake in the report of accreditation, the degree accreditation, So I've been calling them, nobody answered. So yeah, it's not easy actually to get all the documentation ready. And yeah, actually we are lost, especially for us. We are immigrants. We didn't study here, so everything should be different. But yeah, my question now, how can I know if the application is already went through? And another quick question, let's say we started the school. What if it was so hard for us, we couldn't understand all these technology or information or whatever? What will happen? Let's say we are gonna quit within the first week. Do we still have to pay back the money or what?
No, for new students, we typically don't disperse any money until 30 days after the beginning of the term, because we do know that, life happens. You might be in a program you thought was going to be one way and it's really not what you're interested in and want to change your major. Or like you said, maybe this is just not the right time for you to pursue a college education. And that's totally understandable. No money would, you wouldn't be responsible for any funds. So if it's within the first week to 10 days of the term, you can make any changes you want to your enrollment status and your financial aid won't be affected. It's after the semester has begun where, yes, you're going to be responsible for a portion of the tuition as well as your financial aid.
Yeah, we have an added drop deadline after every semester starts. Usually it's like 2 weeks at the beginning. We will remind you, it also shows on your portal, on your Canvas study portal, will tell you, hey, if you decide to drop class or drop the whole program, you will not be charged. Only after that date, if you are still, say, even 1 day, yes, you will be charged.
Okay.
Certain part of that semester. You also mentioned the immunization records. So any college you go to, this is a by law, we require immunization because students are all on campus. So we want to make sure everybody is safe. So for you, if you contact your primary doctor, tell them you don't really need an appointment, you just need your records. Because you don't need to do physical in order to get your record.
Yeah, but they don't understand. Yeah, I told them that I need it so soon, but still maybe tomorrow I have an appointment finally, but I hope everything will be okay. They fill up the application. So the quick question now, the last question, sorry guys. When I get, let's say, the immunization report, and if I take it to the Institute, Benjamin Franklin, can I find somebody help me with the FAFSA or the loan there? Just like 15 minutes maybe? Is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You can come in person or call our financial aid team and they can help you on the phone.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate that. I'm done, actually.
Oh, no problem. Good questions.
Thanks.
Next one, Pierre. You can unmute yourself. Go ahead.
Hello,
Okay,
yes.
I will.
Yep. I have a question. Oh, I'm not like eligible like for FAFSA. I would like to know like if I will be like eligible like for some other like grants or so. I just wanna know because I'm gonna pay like for the tuition like out of pocket.
I mean, the best thing to do is to still, complete a FAFSA and see if you are eligible. If you're not eligible, then,
I did.
oh, you're, okay, so they already said that you weren't eligible. Again, I would contact our team and see based on whatever your circumstances are, if there's scholarships that could be applied, or, again, if that's not going to be an option, then also the team can help you consider a payment plan.